If you get migraines, the most frustrating part is how random they can feel. One day you're fine, and the next, your brain seems to flip a switch. The good news is that migraines often follow patterns, even when the pain feels unpredictable. In this video, you'll learn a practical mental model for why migraines happen, what commonly sets them off, and the early clues your body may give you. We'll talk about the migraine threshold, why triggers often stack, and why the headache phase is sometimes the last step in a longer chain. You'll also hear about common trigger categories like sleep changes, stress shifts, hormones, food timing, and sensory overload. And we'll cover why two people can have totally different trigger lists, yet still have the same underlying biology. The goal is not to find the one cause. It's to understand your patterns so you can recognize a migraine earlier and discuss it more clearly with a clinician. Moving to slide 2. A helpful way to think about migraine is as a nervous system that's temporarily more sensitive. Researchers often describe migraine as involving brain networks that handle pain, sensory input, and regulation of blood vessels and inflammation signals. During a migraine-prone window, your brain may amplify normal signals. Light feels harsher, smells feel stronger, sounds feel sharper. This doesn't mean the pain is in your head in the dismissive sense. It means the brain is the organ processing the signals, and its settings can shift. Genetics plays a role for many people, which helps explain why migraines can run in families. But genes aren't destiny. Your environment, routines, stress load, and sleep patterns can all influence how close you are to a migraine episode. So instead of asking what caused this one migraine, a better question is, what pushed my system past its limit this time? That idea sets up the migraine threshold model. Moving to slide 3. The migraine threshold model is simple but powerful. Imagine you have a personal limit for how much strain your nervous system can handle before migraine starts. On a stable week, good sleep, regular meals, manageable stress, you may be far from that threshold. But when several stressors pile up, you get closer. Then a small extra thing like a skipped lunch or bright glare can be the final push. This is why people argue about triggers. One person blames chocolate, another blames weather, another blames screens. Often, the trigger is just the last straw, not the whole story. It also explains why the same trigger doesn't always cause a migraine. If your baseline load is low, you might tolerate it. If your baseline load is high, you might not. Tracking patterns is basically tracking your distance to that threshold over time. Moving to slide 4. Migraines are often described in phases, and this matters because the headache is not always the beginning. The first phase is prodrome, which can start hours or even a day before pain. People notice yawning, mood changes, food cravings, neck stiffness, or feeling unusually tired or wired. Next, some people get an aura, temporary neurological symptoms like flashing lights, zigzag lines, tingling, or word-finding difficulty. Aura isn't required for migraine, but it's a strong clue when it happens. Then comes the headache phase, which may include throbbing pain, nausea, and sensitivity to light or sound. After that, there's postdrome, sometimes called the migraine hangover, where you feel foggy or drained. When you learn your phases, you can spot your early clues sooner and avoid mislabeling them as random quirks. Moving to slide 5. Let's get specific about early clues, because this is where many people miss the pattern. A classic prodrome sign is yawning that feels excessive and out of place. Another is a sudden change in mood, irritability, low mood, or even an unusually upbeat feeling. Many people notice neck tightness and assume it's the cause, but it can be part of the early migraine process. Food cravings are also common, especially for carbs or salty foods, and that can lead to a false conclusion like, chips triggered my migraine. Sometimes the craving was the warning. Increased urination, thirst, and trouble concentrating also show up for some people. The key is timing. If these signs reliably appear before pain, they're not random. They're your nervous system hinting that your threshold is getting close. That's valuable information to track and discuss with a professional. Moving to slide 6. Sleep is one of the most consistent migraine pattern drivers. And the tricky part is that it's not only too little sleep. Too much sleep can also be a problem, especially when it's a sudden change from your usual schedule. Think of weekends, travel, or shift changes. Irregular sleep can disrupt brain systems that regulate pain sensitivity and stress hormones. Another common pattern is poor sleep quality, even if the hours look fine. Snoring, frequent waking, or restless sleep can keep your nervous system on a higher baseline load. Some people also notice migraines after naps, especially long or late-day naps, which may shift sleep pressure and circadian rhythm. Rather than aiming for perfection, the practical takeaway is consistency. When you review your migraine days, look for changes in bedtime, wake time, and sleep interruptions in the 24 to 48 hours before symptoms. Moving to slide 7. Stress is a major factor, but not in the way most people think. A migraine can happen during stress, but it also commonly happens after stress drops. That's sometimes called a letdown effect. Your body finally relaxes, and the nervous system shifts gears. Those shifts can change hormones like cortisol and alter muscle tension, sleep, and hydration all at once. Another stress-related pattern is sustained low-grade stress, where you're functioning but constantly tense. That baseline load can make smaller triggers hit harder. It's also worth separating emotional stress from physical stress. Intense workouts, long drives, dehydration, and illness can all be physical stressors. If you're tracking, don't just mark stress yes or no. Note the type, the duration, and whether symptoms started during the push or during the recovery. That detail often reveals the real pattern. Moving to slide 8. Food and hydration triggers are often misunderstood because timing matters as much as the ingredient. For many people, the biggest issue is missed meals or long gaps between meals. That can affect blood sugar stability and stress hormones, which may lower your threshold. Dehydration is similar. Sometimes it's obvious, but often it's subtle, like slightly less fluid on a busy day plus extra caffeine. Speaking of caffeine, it can be complicated. Some people find it helpful in small, consistent amounts, while others are sensitive to it, or to withdrawal when they skip their usual dose. Alcohol is a common trigger category, especially certain types like red wine for some people, but it's not universal. And then there are specific foods, aged cheeses, processed meats, and foods with strong odors. Yet even there, the pattern is often only when combined with other stressors. Focus on regularity first. Moving to slide 9. Hormones are a major reason migraines can cluster in predictable windows, especially for many women. Fluctuations in estrogen are strongly linked with migraine risk, which helps explain migraines around menstruation, ovulation, pregnancy, and perimenopause. The key word is fluctuation, not simply high or low. Rapid changes can affect pain sensitivity and how the brain responds to sensory input. Some people notice that their migraines are more severe, longer, or harder to recover from during certain cycle days. Others notice more aura or more nausea. If this sounds familiar, tracking your cycle alongside migraine phases can be very revealing. This is also where individualized medical guidance matters, because hormonal patterns interact with contraception, other health conditions, and migraine subtype. The practical takeaway is to treat hormones as a timing clue. They can explain why the same lifestyle trigger hits harder in certain weeks. Moving to slide 10. Sensory triggers are another big category, and they're not just being annoyed by light. During a migraine-prone state, the brain can become more responsive to stimulation. Bright or flickering light, glare, strong smells, loud environments, and even busy visual patterns can push you closer to the threshold. Screens can play a role, but often it's not the screen itself. It's the combination of brightness, posture, dry eyes, long focus without breaks, and mental load. Motion and travel can also matter. Think long car rides, boats, or even certain elevators for sensitive people. Weather is real for some too, especially rapid pressure changes, heat, humidity, or storms, but it's rarely the only factor. A useful way to track sensory triggers is to note exposure duration and whether you are already tired, hungry, or stressed at the same time. Moving to slide 11. So how do you turn all of this into something practical? Start by tracking fewer things, but more consistently. For each episode, note the first symptom you noticed, not just when pain peaked. Then log sleep timing, meal timing, hydration, unusual stress or relief, and any standout sensory exposures in the prior 1 to 2 days. Also note where you are in your cycle if that applies. Over a few weeks, patterns usually emerge as clusters, not single causes. You might find a recipe, like short sleep plus skipped lunch plus bright store lighting. Or you might find a timing pattern, like migraines that start the morning after a high-stress day. If you experience new neurological symptoms, sudden severe headaches, or a major change in your usual pattern, that's a reason to seek medical evaluation promptly. Migraines are common, but not every headache is a migraine. If you want more videos like this, subscribe. And for a quick check-in, comment with your most common early clue: A. Yawning, or B. Neck stiffness. This information is not a substitute for medical advice.